One of the questions I'm asked very often is, where do I find venture capital? Where do I find people who might invest in my business? I think as I mentioned before, it has a whole lot to do with the size of your business and the potential size of your business and how much equity capital you might need. If you've got a business that is profitable and a business which has a demonstrated financial record over a period of several years, and you're operating in a fairly large market, you might consider approaching a traditional venture capital firm that wants to invest several $1 million and up. Many of these firms have hundreds of millions of dollars under management, and thus the average size of the investment needs to be $5 or $10 million to start with. And that sounds like a lot, but to them that's a fairly small investment. They like to put a lot of money to work in a great idea, and preferably in a company which has an operating track record, at least for a period of time, to prove that the marketplace assumptions that they're making about their product are true. As far as finding these venture capitalists, you probably can Google search venture capital firms in the Southeast or variations of that and get a number of them. Norro Mosley Partners is an example of a very successful venture capital firm in the Atlanta area, which is one of the oldest VC firms in the Southeast. There are others, and there are others in other parts of the country which sometimes make venture capital investments in the Southeast. But there again, it all goes back to your plan. There are incubators for smaller businesses scattered around in different cities. Many chambers of commerce and educational groups do have incubator programs which could be helpful to an entrepreneur, depending on his proximity to them and what his idea was. The most successful one that I'm aware of is at Georgia Tech, which is the Advanced Technology Development Center, ATDC, and they have turned out and have alumni companies, so to speak, that have been very successful, many of whom are almost household names in the Southeast. And that's a good place to start. One of the things an incubator does provide generally is a little bit of exposure of your business to others and to equity capital. For example, I know that venture capitalists pay attention to what's going on at Georgia Tech's center. There are also smaller centers associated with other educational institutions, but that's not the only place that you can get help. If you ask around enough and you have a good enough idea, you can probably find people in your community or in some of the larger communities for sure around in this area that can point you to people who have made venture capital in type investments before and backed entrepreneurs.